Antarctica has always held a certain allure for humanity, a land that seems untouched, a world of endless ice and haunting silence. It is a place where the wind whispers secrets across vast, frozen plains, where jagged mountains rise from the ice like ancient sentinels, and where the sun, for months at a time, refuses to set. To most, it is a desolate, inhospitable wasteland, a place too cold and too distant to harbor any traces of human history. Yet, beneath this frozen exterior lies the possibility of a story far older and far stranger than conventional history has ever acknowledged. The silence of Antarctica is not just a lack of life. It is a silence that conceals mysteries, hiding beneath layers of ice and snow, secrets that may stretch back to times long before recorded history. From the earliest days of exploration, humans have been drawn to this icy frontier. Tales of intrepid explorers braving the elements, ships crushed in the unforgiving ice, and men lost forever in blizzards have captured the imagination of the world. But even as modern science mapped the continent and measured its glaciers, there remained a lingering sense that Antarctica was more than just a cold desert. There are those who claim that the ice preserves evidence of forgotten civilizations, of journeys long erased from the records of mankind. Some even suggest that ancient knowledge, long hidden, lies buried beneath the shifting glaciers, waiting for those daring enough to uncover it. The geography of Antarctica itself is strange and compelling. Vast plateaus stretch for hundreds of miles, punctuated by mountains that rise sharply from the ice, their peaks often shrouded in perpetual storms. Beneath the surface, satellite scans and seismic studies reveal a landscape of hidden valleys, ancient riverbeds, and mysterious formations that suggest a history far different from the one textbooks describe. It is a land of paradox, both lifeless and teeming with the possibility of untold stories. Its isolation has shielded it from human interference, preserving clues that elsewhere might have been lost to time. Throughout history, this continent has inspired myths and legends. Early sailors spoke of unknown southern lands beyond the horizon, lands of ice and rock where strange phenomena were said to occur. Maps from centuries past sometimes depict coastlines that only now, through modern technology, are revealed to correspond, almost eerily, with the actual shape of Antarctica. These depictions, often dismissed as fanciful or mistaken, hint at the possibility that knowledge of this land existed long before its official discovery. What if the maps were not the product of error, but of knowledge deliberately hidden, passed down by those who understood the significance of what lay at the southernmost reaches of the globe? It is impossible to ignore the allure of mystery. There is something deeply human about the need to explore, to uncover the unknown, and to challenge the boundaries of accepted history. Antarctica represents the ultimate challenge, a continent that resists scrutiny, a canvas upon which countless legends have been written, erased, and rewritten. The silence of the ice invites speculation, encourages imagination, and demands respect. Some of the most intriguing theories suggest that Antarctica is not merely a remote outpost of the natural world, but a repository of knowledge, a place where the past has been carefully preserved, waiting for the right eyes to see it. The very idea that the Templars, a secretive order shrouded in mystery and rumor, could have had knowledge of Antarctica adds another layer to the intrigue. For centuries, historians and conspiracy theorists alike have pondered the possibility that these knights, custodians of forbidden knowledge and secret relics, may have extended their reach far beyond the familiar lands of Europe and the Holy Land. Could they have glimpsed this icy frontier? Could they have charted it in secret, leaving hints in maps that would only surface centuries later? As we begin this journey into the frozen heart of the continent, it is essential to understand that Antarctica is not simply a place of extreme cold and silence. It is a living puzzle, a world that challenges everything we think we know about history, civilization, and human curiosity. Beneath its seemingly barren surface may lie evidence of forgotten journeys, ancient civilizations, and secrets so profound that the very fabric of history might shift if they were revealed. The ice does not merely preserve the past. It guards it, like a vigilant sentinel, demanding that only the most patient, daring, and perceptive seekers uncover its truths. In the chapters that follow, we will explore these mysteries layer by layer, piecing together evidence from maps, legends, and accounts that have survived through centuries of secrecy. From the enigmatic Templars to the forbidden maps that may point the way, Antarctica stands as a silent witness to stories waiting to be told. Its frozen expanse invites us to question what we know, to imagine what we have yet to discover, and to confront the possibility that history, as we understand it, may only be a fragment of a much larger and far more astonishing reality. Few organizations in history have captured the imagination as profoundly as the Knights Templar. Emerging in the early 12th century during the turbulent era of the Crusades, this secretive order was initially tasked with protecting pilgrims traveling to the Holy Land. But their story quickly became far more than a tale of valor and warfare. From the shadows of medieval Europe, the Templars grew into a network of immense power and influence, controlling vast estates, treasure troves, and archives of knowledge that span continents. To many, they were simply warriors. To others, they were the keepers of secrets so dangerous, so profound, that the very church feared their existence. The rise of the Templars was meteoric. Within decades, they established strongholds across Europe and the Levant, their wealth rivaling that of kings. They built castles, funded crusades, and amassed treasures whose true contents remain the subject of speculation to this day. But it was not their wealth or military might that set them apart. It was their reputation as guardians of forbidden knowledge. Legends suggest they collected sacred relics, esoteric manuscripts, and cryptic artifacts, all hidden from the eyes of the public and the scrutiny of the church. These were not mere treasures. They were keys to understanding mysteries that modern historians still struggle to comprehend. The Templars were said to have an unparalleled understanding of mathematics, astronomy, and sacred geometry. Some accounts hint that they possessed knowledge of the Earth's hidden landscapes and ancient civilizations, insights that allowed them to navigate the seas and map territories far beyond the known world. Their cryptic rituals, coded documents, and secretive meetings fueled rumors that they were not merely soldiers of God, but seekers of divine truths, guardians of knowledge that could alter humanity's understanding of history and power. Every action, every journey, every map they created seemed to carry a hidden purpose, encoded in a language understood only by those initiated into their ranks. It is in this context that whispers of their ventures into the unknown take on a tantalizing significance. If the Templars were indeed seekers of hidden wisdom, it is conceivable that their ambitions extended far beyond Europe and the Holy Land. Some researchers propose that the Templars were explorers at heart, venturing to places long considered inaccessible, and perhaps even charting lands that would not officially be discovered for centuries. Their interest in the mysteries of the world may have drawn them to regions of the earth that modern maps would label as blank, remote, or inhospitable. Could the Templars have known about Antarctica long before it appeared in European records? Could they have created secret maps of the frozen continent, safeguarding knowledge that only now is beginning to emerge? The fall of the Templars adds another layer to the intrigue. In the early 14th century, the order was violently suppressed by King Philip IV of France, ostensibly for heresy and corruption. But many historians and conspiracy theorists alike suggest that the charges were merely a pretext to seize their wealth and silence their secrets. Arrests, trials, and executions followed, Yet even as the order was dismantled, whispers of their hidden treasures and forbidden knowledge persisted. Some Templars allegedly escaped, carrying with them manuscripts, sacred relics, and maps that contained insights into lands few had ever imagined. Over the centuries, fragments of their legacy reappeared in obscure texts, cryptic symbols, and tales of secret societies claiming descent from the original order. It is these whispers, these fragments of forbidden knowledge, that invite speculation about the Templars' potential connection to Antarctica. Some theorists argue that the Order's fascination with hidden lands, sacred relics, and esoteric wisdom could have led them to the southernmost reaches of the globe. They may have recognized the significance of ice-covered continents, not just as geographic anomalies, but as repositories of ancient knowledge and lost civilizations. The Templars were meticulous record keepers, and it is plausible that secret maps, detailing uncharted territories, were hidden away to survive the ages. Their influence extended beyond the battlefield. The Templars were known for their banking system, sophisticated networks of communication, and ability to move resources across great distances. If they possessed maps or knowledge of remote lands, they had the means to protect and preserve them. This combination of wealth, intellect, and secrecy makes the notion of Templar expeditions into unknown territories not merely fanciful, but conceivable. Their legacy, shrouded in secrecy, hints at the possibility that the world they left behind was far richer, far more complex, and far more mysterious than the history books admit. As we continue this exploration, it is essential to see the Templars not just as warriors or religious zealots, but as guardians of knowledge, seekers of truths hidden from ordinary eyes. Their story is a bridge between the known and the unknown, a pathway that may lead directly to the frozen expanses of Antarctica, where secrets lie waiting beneath the ice. Theirs is a story of ambition, courage, and a relentless pursuit of understanding, a pursuit that may have taken them to the edges of the known world and possibly beyond. In uncovering the Templars' history, we begin to understand the stakes of what they might have discovered and why those discoveries could have been hidden from the world. Their knowledge, their maps, and their secrets are threads in a tapestry that stretches across centuries, continents, and the frozen plains of a continent most of us only see on a map. And it is along these threads that our journey will continue, following the echoes of a vanished order into one of the greatest mysteries the world has ever known. Maps have always been more than mere tools for navigation. They are windows into the minds of those who created them, reflections of knowledge, belief, and power. In the medieval and Renaissance eras, maps were especially potent. They were not simply geographic representations, but instruments of secrecy, propaganda, and sometimes even prophecy. Among the most intriguing are those that hint at lands far beyond what the mapmakers could have known. Coastlines, islands, and continents appearing centuries before they were officially discovered. It is here, in the shadowy world of lost cartography, that the story of the Templars in Antarctica begins to take shape. Perhaps the most famous of these mysterious maps is the Piri Reis map of 1513. Drawn by the Ottoman admiral and cartographer, it depicts the coasts of South America with astonishing accuracy. But what captures the imagination of alternative historians is the depiction of the Antarctic coastline, ice-free, detailed, and apparently mapped long before any known European expedition reached the continent. Conventional historians dismiss this as coincidence or the result of imaginative reconstruction. Yet for those who study the history of secret knowledge, it is tantalizing evidence that someone, somewhere, had extraordinary access to information lost to mainstream history. Could the Templars, masters of secrecy and knowledge, have been custodians of such ancient geographic intelligence, passing it down through generations in hidden maps? Medieval maps themselves often contain curious anomalies. Coastlines appear where no coastline should exist. Mountains rise in impossible places, and strange symbols mark lands unmentioned in contemporary texts. Some of these maps were drawn using knowledge that seems far ahead of their time, incorporating astronomical observations, precise measurements, and details that suggest either extraordinary insight or access to records from civilizations long vanished. Among these, a few scholars claim to see hints of Templar involvement, subtle symbols, coded notations, and references that might indicate the hand of an organization accustomed to guarding secrets. It is not just the content of these maps that is intriguing, but their survival. Many of these documents were deliberately hidden, stored in monasteries, private collections, or secret archives. Some were destroyed during wars, religious purges, or political upheavals. Others surfaced centuries later, often in fragmented or cryptic form, leaving researchers to piece together their meaning from incomplete data. The story of these maps is as much about what was deliberately concealed as what was revealed. In this way, the maps themselves become a mystery, as much a puzzle as the lands they depict. The Templars, with their vast network of castles, fortresses, and safe houses, were uniquely positioned to collect and preserve such knowledge. Some historians suggest that their expeditions were not limited to the Holy Land. Instead, they may have traveled further, seeking lands rumored in legend, lands hidden in texts, or lands suggested by ancient maps now lost to time. Every map, every line, and every symbol could have been part of a carefully constructed record, a coded testament to discoveries that mainstream history refuses to acknowledge. Antarctica, shrouded in ice and legend, would have been a perfect candidate for such secrecy, a continent at the edge of the known world, waiting for those daring enough to chart it. Beyond the Pyre Reese map, other lesser-known charts add to the mystery. Some depict southern continents long before official exploration, often marked with strange symbols or annotations that hint at knowledge acquired through channels other than direct exploration. Some researchers argue that these maps derive from ancient sources, possibly even civilizations predating classical Greece and Rome. If such knowledge existed, it is plausible that the Templars, with their obsession with esoteric wisdom, could have inherited it, adapting it into their own secret cartographic tradition. The maps would not merely guide ships, they would guide understanding, revealing hidden truths about the Earth itself. What makes this all the more compelling is the intentional secrecy surrounding cartography in the medieval period. Maps were powerful, dangerous even, for they represented control over knowledge. Whoever possessed a map of unknown lands held a kind of authority, strategic, spiritual, and political. The Templars, who were both scholars and warriors, understood this implicitly. To them, maps were not just drawings. They were keys to hidden worlds, vehicles for safeguarding knowledge that could alter the course of history if misused. A map pointing to Antarctica, carefully concealed, might have been part of a far larger plan to protect knowledge of ancient civilizations, sacred relics, or even esoteric wisdom buried beneath the ice. As we examine the fragments of these lost maps, it becomes clear that they are more than curiosities. They are breadcrumbs left across centuries, hints of a knowledge deliberately hidden, pieces of a puzzle whose full picture we may never see. Yet, each line, each coastline, each strange annotation invites speculation. Who drew these maps? Who kept them safe? And perhaps most intriguingly, what truths were they meant to protect? In following these maps, we begin to trace the path of those who may have known more than the rest of the world. We begin to glimpse the ambitions of an order obsessed with discovery, secrecy, and preservation. The Templars, guardians of forbidden knowledge, may have been the invisible hands guiding explorers, charting territories, and protecting secrets that could rewrite our understanding of the world. And it is along the frozen contours of Antarctica that these secrets seem to converge, a place at once remote, mysterious, and laden with possibilities that challenge everything we think we know about history. Antarctica is often portrayed as the final frontier of human exploration, a vast, frozen wasteland that remained largely untouched until the heroic expeditions of the 19th and 20th centuries. Mainstream history teaches that the continent was first sighted in the early 1820s and only gradually mapped and explored over the following decades. From the daring journeys of James Clark Ross to the heroic feats of Ernest Shackleton and Roald Amundsen, the narrative is one of courage, endurance, and the triumph of human spirit over a hostile environment. Yet beyond this conventional account, whispers of an older, more mysterious history persist, suggesting that Antarctica may have been known far earlier than widely acknowledged, and that its icy expanses hide secrets that challenge the very foundation of historical scholarship. For centuries, sailors, explorers, and scholars speculated about lands hidden beyond the known world. Ancient texts hint at a southern continent, sometimes referred to as Terra Australis, a landmass believed to balance the continents of the northern hemisphere. These speculations were often dismissed as myth, mere conjecture to explain gaps in geographic knowledge. Yet some of these early ideas appear uncannily accurate, aligning with features of Antarctica later confirmed by explorers. Could these were not mere coincidences? Could knowledge of a southern land have existed long before the age of exploration, preserved in secret by those who understood its importance? Alternative historians point to tantalizing clues scattered across centuries of obscure maps and manuscripts. Certain medieval charts depict coastlines and mountains that match Antarctica's geography with surprising accuracy, sometimes showing the continent free of ice as it may have appeared millennia ago. Mainstream scholars dismiss these maps as misinterpretations, legends, or the results of wishful thinking. But the anomalies persist. Lines, symbols, and notations that defy conventional explanation, raising the possibility that someone, perhaps an ancient civilization or a secretive order such as the Templars, had direct knowledge of this frozen world. The contrast between history and legend becomes even more striking when we consider the technological limitations of ancient and medieval societies. Sailing to a continent hidden in the far south, navigating treacherous seas, and recording accurate geographic information would have been nearly impossible without advanced knowledge. Yet the evidence in maps and texts suggests that this knowledge existed, passed down in secrecy, preserved by those who recognized its significance. Legends of lost lands, mysterious voyages, and unexplained discoveries echo across centuries, offering glimpses of a reality that challenges conventional timelines. Modern archaeology and geology provide another layer of intrigue. Ice cores and satellite imagery reveal that Antarctica was not always the frozen desert we see today. Millions of years ago, parts of the continent were warm, forested, and capable of supporting life. Riverbeds, valleys, and submerged mountain ranges suggest that civilizations, if they existed, could have thrived in eras now lost to time. These findings raise profound questions. Could ancient people have visited or even settled in Antarctica during more temperate periods? Could knowledge of these civilizations have been preserved, intentionally hidden, and later acquired by secretive orders like the Templars? The very idea challenges our assumptions about the past. Mainstream history presents a linear narrative. Continents discovered when human technology allowed, civilizations rising and falling in predictable patterns. Yet the discrepancies between maps, legends, and archaeological evidence hint at a more complex story. Antarctica, in this alternative narrative, is not merely a late addition to the world map, but a place of mystery and significance, a repository of knowledge that may have been deliberately hidden from public awareness. Even accounts from early explorers add to the tension between fact and legend. Stories of strange formations, unusual magnetic anomalies, and hidden valleys occasionally surface in expedition journals. Some explorers reported structures that seemed unnatural, shadows and shapes in the ice that defied conventional explanation. While skeptics dismiss these as optical illusions or exaggerations, they contribute to a growing sense that Antarctica is not just a barren wasteland, but a canvas upon which history has been written, and perhaps deliberately obscured. The allure of legend is powerful. Tales of lost civilizations beneath the ice, of ancient maps showing hidden continents, and of secret orders protecting forbidden knowledge invite us to question what we accept as fact. Antarctica becomes more than a remote land. It becomes a symbol of the tension between revealed and concealed history, a place where the known world meets the unknown. This tension between what is recorded and what is hidden is at the heart of the mystery, compelling us to look beyond textbooks and official records to explore what might lie beneath the ice. In contemplating Antarctica through this dual lens of history and legend, we begin to see why some believe the continent holds more than frozen landscapes. It is a repository of secrets, a place where knowledge may have been carefully preserved, awaiting discovery by those willing to question conventional narratives. Whether the Templars, other ancient explorers, or lost civilizations themselves left traces upon this icy expanse, the continent remains a silent witness, guarding stories that mainstream history either cannot or will not tell. As we move forward in this exploration, the contrast between history and legend serves as a guiding thread. By acknowledging the limitations of conventional accounts and opening our minds to the possibility of hidden truths, we prepare to follow the trail of forbidden knowledge, maps, symbols, and whispers of Templar expeditions that converge on the southernmost reaches of the Earth. Antarctica is no longer simply a destination. It is a mystery, waiting patiently beneath the ice, challenging us to see beyond the accepted narrative and daring us to uncover the secrets it has held for millennia. Among the many mysteries of the southernmost continent, one artifact stands out as both tantalizing and enigmatic: the so-called Forbidden Map. Unlike the maps that populate ordinary history books, this map is whispered about in hushed tones among scholars, conspiracy researchers, and those drawn to secret histories. It is said to depict the coastlines of Antarctica with an accuracy that defies conventional understanding, showing ice-free regions, mountain ranges, and inland rivers long before modern technology could have revealed such details. Some claim it originated from secret Templar archives, passed down through generations, hidden from the eyes of kings and commoners alike. Others suggest it is a copy of an even older chart, derived from civilizations whose existence has been erased or forgotten by mainstream history. The discovery of this map is, unsurprisingly, shrouded in mystery. Accounts differ, often contradicting one another, but the narrative remains compelling. Some say it was unearthed in a private European collection, tucked away in a hidden library once owned by a descendant of a Templar sympathizer. Others claim it emerged from a vault in the Vatican archives, deliberately concealed for centuries due to the dangerous knowledge it contained. In every version, the story emphasizes secrecy, implying that those who found it either disappeared or were compelled to remain silent. This very aura of forbidden knowledge adds to the map's allure. If it were meant for public eyes, why would so many have gone to such lengths to conceal it? The contents of the map are equally extraordinary. Unlike conventional representations of Antarctica, it portrays the continent in a way that seems almost fantastical to modern eyes. The coastlines are rendered with astonishing precision, suggesting measurements taken from direct observation rather than imagination. Mountains, rivers, and valleys are depicted in detail, some of which have only recently been confirmed through satellite imagery. Even more striking are the annotations and symbols scattered across the parchment. Some appear to be codes or ciphers, possibly designed to conceal specific locations or knowledge from those uninitiated into the map's secrets. Others resemble Templar emblems, small yet unmistakable, hinting at the possible origins of the map and the order that might have safeguarded it. The Forbidden Map does not exist in isolation. It belongs to a lineage of secret cartography that challenges everything we know about the past. There are hints that it draws upon older maps, some dating back to ancient civilizations, which were lost to time but preserved through clandestine channels. Some researchers suggest that the knowledge it encodes could relate to hidden civilizations that existed in Antarctica during eras when the climate was far warmer, perhaps even long before the rise of the first recorded empires. To conventional historians, such claims are dismissed as fanciful, impossible, or the product of overactive imagination. Yet the very consistency of these claims across different sources, cultures, and centuries makes them difficult to ignore. Controversy inevitably surrounds the map. Skeptics argue that it is a modern forgery, perhaps created to exploit the fascination with secret histories and the Templars. Others claim that any resemblance to real geography is coincidental, a misinterpretation of artistic or symbolic representations rather than evidence of actual knowledge. Yet proponents counter that the accuracy of certain features, confirmed only by modern mapping technologies, cannot be easily explained. How could someone, centuries ago, have drawn a continent still hidden beneath ice sheets that were impenetrable to explorers until the 19th century? The question alone fuels speculation and deepens the mystery surrounding the map's origins. Equally fascinating is the question of motive. Why, if such knowledge existed, would it be deliberately concealed? Some suggest that the map contains strategic or religious secrets so profound that their revelation could have upended political or spiritual power structures. Others argue that it points to a much larger conspiracy, a deliberate suppression of knowledge about Antarctica, designed to prevent humanity from understanding its true history. The Templars, if indeed they were the custodians of such knowledge, may have created the map not merely as a tool of navigation, but as a vessel to preserve wisdom too dangerous or profound to reveal to the masses. The map also raises questions about the interplay between legend and reality. Stories of hidden cities beneath the ice, subterranean chambers, and ancient relics often accompany accounts of the map. Some interpretations suggest that it indicates sites of sacred or esoteric significance, perhaps tied to the Templars' obsession with relics, divine secrets, or lost civilizations. If the map were genuine, it would not merely represent a geographic document. It would be a guide, a coded key to uncovering treasures and truths that humanity has largely forgotten. Its allure is amplified by the human tendency to imagine what might lie hidden. Over the centuries, scholars, adventurers, and conspiracy theorists alike have attempted to trace the locations depicted on the map with varying degrees of seriousness. Some claim to have found clues corroborating its accuracy, from unusual rock formations to hidden valleys detectable only through satellite or ice-penetrating radar. Others dismiss these efforts as speculative, yet the map continues to inspire exploration, debate, and intrigue. Its mystique lies not only in what it depicts, but in the fact that so little about it is definitively known. The Forbidden Map, therefore, exists at the intersection of curiosity and secrecy, history and speculation. It is a symbol of the tension between what is revealed and what is hidden, between conventional knowledge and the possibility of forbidden truths. To study, it is to peer into a world of secret knowledge, one where the Templars may have ventured further than anyone has imagined, and where Antarctica is not a barren expanse, but a repository of mysteries. Each line, each notation, each hidden emblem invites us to question the limits of what we know and to imagine a world where knowledge was preserved in secrecy, awaiting the day it might once again be understood. As we continue our journey into the frozen continent, The Forbidden Map serves as a central thread, guiding us through layers of legend, history, and speculation. It challenges us to reconcile skepticism with possibility, to explore not only the land it depicts, but the order that may have created it, and to confront the idea that Antarctica is far more than it appears, a place where the past has been carefully hidden beneath the ice, and where secrets, perhaps Templar secrets, wait silently to be discovered. The allure of Antarctica is not limited to its vast icy plains or the possibility of hidden civilizations beneath the glaciers. Some researchers and alternative historians suggest that the continent itself may bear traces of secret knowledge, carefully encoded in symbols, emblems, and markings left by those who understood the significance of its frozen expanse. Among the most compelling theories is the idea that the Templars, masters of secrecy and guardians of forbidden knowledge, may have left their marks on the ice, not merely as navigational aids, but as cryptic messages, waiting for the right eyes to uncover their meaning. Templar symbolism is well documented in Europe. The cross-petit, mysterious geometric patterns and esoteric inscriptions appear throughout their castles, churches, and manuscripts. These symbols were never merely decorative. They were designed to convey hidden knowledge, often accessible only to those initiated into the inner workings of the order. In Europe, the Templars encoded their messages in architecture, art, and ritual, hiding meaning in plain sight. It is not unreasonable to imagine that if they traveled further afield, to lands largely unknown, they would have applied the same methods to preserve knowledge and guide future seekers. Antarctica, a land uncharted and remote, would have been the perfect canvas for such cryptic communication. Some theorists point to unusual ice formations and geological anomalies as potential evidence of hidden emblems. Satellite imagery, combined with ground surveys, has revealed patterns that some claim are too precise to be purely natural. From symmetrical ridges and depressions to formations that echo the shapes of known Templar symbols, these features raise tantalizing questions. Could they be the result of natural forces, coincidental alignments of ice and rock? Or is it possible that they are deliberate markings left by an ancient, secretive hand? The patterns, if intentional, could serve multiple purposes: territorial markers, warnings, guides to hidden caches, or even a map layered with symbolic meaning. Codified messages, long a hallmark of the Templars, are also said to be embedded in surviving maps and manuscripts that reference Antarctica. Tiny notations, cryptic symbols, and ambiguous drawings may correspond to geographic features of the frozen continent. Some researchers argue that the seemingly innocuous decorative flourishes in certain maps are not artistic at all, but encoded instructions, conveying locations of hidden relics or lost knowledge. In this view, Antarctica becomes not only a physical destination, but also a conceptual one, a landscape inscribed with meaning for those who know how to read it. In addition to symbols and codes, oral tradition plays a role in the theory of Templar markings. Legends passed down through secret societies claim that the Templars were not only explorers, but also communicators of esoteric wisdom. They allegedly used a combination of physical symbols, coded maps, and cryptic writings to transmit their discoveries to trusted successors. While these accounts are impossible to verify, their consistency across centuries and cultures suggests that the idea of encoded knowledge was central to the Templar mindset. Antarctica, with its inhospitable climate and remoteness, would have been an ideal repository for messages meant to survive the ages. The concept of hidden emblems in the ice also aligns with the Templars' fascination with sacred geometry. From the design of their chapels to the layout of their fortresses, geometric precision was not merely aesthetic. It was symbolic, reflecting cosmology, divine order, and encoded understanding of the universe. If the Templars reached the southernmost continent, they may have employed the same principles, marking the land in ways that communicated information across time and space. Mountains, valleys, and ice formations could have been chosen deliberately for their alignment, orientation, and resemblance to sacred symbols, forming a kind of frozen codex, readable only to the initiated. Skeptics are quick to dismiss these ideas, attributing unusual formations to natural forces, ice movement, and optical illusions. Yet the allure of potential Templar codes lies in the pattern recognition they inspire. The human mind is drawn to symmetry, repetition, and order. When these elements appear in unexpected contexts, the imagination leaps to possibilities that challenge conventional explanations. In the case of Antarctica, the combination of extreme isolation, harsh conditions, and unusual geological features creates a perfect stage for speculation. Each anomaly becomes a potential clue, a piece of a puzzle hinting at a secret history hidden beneath layers of ice and snow. Even if direct evidence remains elusive, the cultural and historical context of Templar symbolism provides a compelling framework. The order thrived on secrecy, on preserving knowledge for future generations, and on guarding truths deemed too powerful or dangerous for the uninitiated. Their travels were not limited to warfare. They were journeys of discovery, preservation, and strategic concealment. If they ventured to Antarctica, it is plausible to think that they would leave subtle markers, symbols in the ice, codes and maps, signs meant to endure the passage of centuries. These would serve as breadcrumbs for future seekers, hints of a deeper story waiting to be deciphered. In contemplating these possibilities, we begin to see Antarctica not simply as a frozen wilderness, but as a landscape imbued with potential meaning. Every ridge, every shadowed valley, and every anomalous formation could be a deliberate signpost, a silent message encoded in the language of geometry, symbolism, and secrecy. The Templars, known for their meticulous attention to detail and mastery of hidden knowledge, could have used this desolate continent to preserve truths too profound for ordinary discovery. As we move forward in this exploration, the idea of hidden symbols in the ice serves as a bridge between history and legend, between the tangible and the mystical. Antarctica becomes more than a location. It becomes a living puzzle, a place where knowledge, secrecy, and landscape converge. By examining these potential markers, we follow the trail of a vanished order, tracing the paths they may have walked, the signs they may have left, and the secrets they sought to protect. In the frozen silence of the southern continent, every shadow, every ridge, and every symbol whispers the possibility that history is far richer and far stranger than we have been taught to believe. The Knights Templar are often remembered as warriors, financiers, and guardians of secret knowledge, but there are whispers of a less well-known aspect of their history, their possible ventures into uncharted and distant lands. Beyond Europe, beyond the Holy Land, some theorists suggest the Templars may have pursued expeditions to the farthest reaches of the earth, seeking knowledge, relics, and wisdom hidden from ordinary eyes. Among the most intriguing of these theories is the idea that the Templars journeyed southward, possibly even to Antarctica, centuries before the continent's official discovery. These claims are shrouded in legend, yet they persist with remarkable consistency, appearing in maps, obscure manuscripts, and oral traditions across Europe. Accounts of Templar voyages to distant lands often describe fleets that sailed under the cover of secrecy. Ships are said to have carried treasures, sacred relics, and coded maps, traveling along routes that were deliberately concealed from rival powers and inquisitive authorities. In some narratives, these fleets disappeared from history, their records erased, leaving only fragments, mentions in letters, brief annotations in chronicles, and rumors whispered among secretive societies. The absence of direct documentation has fueled speculation for centuries. Why would such powerful and influential figures vanish from history, if not to protect knowledge so profound that its exposure could have altered the balance of power? One recurring theme in these accounts is the pursuit of southern lands, sometimes described as frozen or inhospitable, other times as fertile and populated with ancient civilizations long forgotten. Some researchers point to maps and navigational charts that suggest knowledge of these territories, often decades or even centuries before they were officially charted by European explorers. The accuracy of certain coastlines and inland features hints at observation rather than imagination, raising the possibility that Templar expeditions reached regions that mainstream history refuses to acknowledge. Antarctica, hidden beneath its thick ice sheet, becomes a plausible candidate, a continent so remote, so forbidding, that its secrets could have been shielded from the world for centuries. Stories of lost Templar fleets add a dramatic layer to the narrative. According to legend, some ships sailed south, laden with treasures and knowledge deemed too dangerous to remain in Europe. Storms, ice, and other natural hazards are said to have claimed many of these vessels, while others vanished without a trace, their existence erased from official records. Yet fragments of their journeys survived in oral traditions, encoded maps, and cryptic references in Templar documents. Some theorists argue that the remnants of these fleets may have made landfall in Antarctica or other remote southern regions, leaving traces that endure in formations, anomalies, or even the forbidden maps that occasionally surface centuries later. The purpose of such expeditions, according to alternative interpretations, extends beyond mere exploration or treasure hunting. The Templars were deeply invested in the pursuit of sacred knowledge, relics of immense significance, and understanding of ancient civilizations. If they indeed reached the southernmost continent, it may have been in search of sites of spiritual or historical importance, locations where relics, inscriptions, or other evidence of lost civilizations had been preserved. Their voyages were as much about discovery and preservation as they were about secrecy, ensuring that knowledge too powerful for the general public remained safeguarded for future generations. Some accounts hint at the involvement of other contemporary secretive groups or civilizations. The Templars, while formidable, may have collaborated with or learned from cultures that possessed advanced navigational or astronomical knowledge, possibly explaining how they could undertake such daring voyages. Legends speak of alliances forged in secrecy, of guidance offered by sages, and of knowledge passed through esoteric channels, all contributing to the Templars' ability to traverse oceans and document lands unknown to the rest of Europe. Antarctica, with its harsh climate and inaccessibility, would have been a natural repository for such safeguarded knowledge, hidden in plain sight beneath layers of ice. Yet the allure of these southern expeditions is not solely based on maps or legends. Physical evidence occasionally surfaces to fuel speculation. Satellite imagery, ice-penetrating radar, and reports from modern explorers sometimes reveal formations that defy easy explanation. Geometric structures, unusually aligned ridges, and other anomalies that could hint at human activity long before recorded history recognizes it. While skeptics argue that these are natural phenomena, proponents see them as breadcrumbs leading back to secretive Templar expeditions, deliberate markers designed to communicate across centuries. These traces, if interpreted correctly, could transform our understanding of the Order's reach, ambition, and capabilities. The very concept of secret voyages to distant lands underscores the Templars' unique combination of courage, intellect, and foresight. Unlike ordinary explorers, they were bound not just by a desire for discovery, but by a mission to preserve knowledge that could alter the course of human history. Every journey, every fleet, and every map potentially served a dual purpose: to explore the unknown and to encode the discoveries in a way that would endure the centuries. Antarctica, with its isolation, its harsh climate, and its mysterious landscape, emerges as a logical candidate for such a purpose. A continent where secrets could be left undisturbed, waiting for those attuned to the hidden language of Templar symbols and codes. The legends of these expeditions often emphasize the Templars' extraordinary foresight. They were not merely charting the geography of unknown lands. They were documenting knowledge, encoding it, and hiding it in ways that could survive political upheavals, natural disasters, and the passage of time. Their secret southern journeys, whether factual or legendary, reflect a worldview in which the preservation of knowledge was paramount, and where remote, inhospitable regions such as Antarctica became vaults for humanity's forgotten wisdom. As we contemplate the possibility of Templar expeditions to the frozen South, we begin to see Antarctica in a new light. It is no longer merely a remote continent, discovered in the 19th century. It is a landscape of potential, a repository of secrets, and a silent witness to voyages that history has almost entirely erased. The Templars' southern journeys, real or imagined, remind us that the world has always been larger than we are taught, and that the boundaries of human exploration may extend far beyond conventional accounts. In following these legends, we trace a path that blends history with speculation, courage with secrecy, and exploration with the protection of forbidden knowledge. The Templars' southern expeditions, whether fully realized or partially mythic, offer a tantalizing glimpse of a world in which Antarctica is not a barren ice sheet, but a stage for human ambition, mystery, and the enduring quest to uncover truths that lie hidden at the edge of the known world. Antarctica is often imagined as a barren, inhospitable wasteland, yet geological and climatological evidence suggests that it was once far different from the frozen desert we see today. Millions of years ago, the continent was warm, forested, and capable of supporting life. River valleys, submerged mountain ranges, and ancient coastline formations tell a story of a land that may have nurtured civilizations long forgotten by mainstream history. The possibility that human, or even pre-human, civilizations once existed beneath the ice has long captured the imagination of historians, explorers, and alternative researchers alike. It is a narrative that challenges our understanding of chronology, geography, and the limits of human achievement. Legends of lost southern civilizations persist across cultures. Ancient texts sometimes allude to great empires hidden beyond the known world, places described as lands of immense wealth, knowledge, and spiritual power. Some accounts suggest that these civilizations were destroyed or submerged by cataclysmic events, leaving only fragments of their existence. Modern interpretations of satellite imagery and ice-penetrating radar occasionally reveal anomalies, structures, ridges, and patterns that could hint at human or engineered activity beneath the ice. While skeptics attribute these to natural processes, proponents argue that the sheer regularity and alignment of certain features demand further investigation. Could these formations be the remnants of cities, temples, or other monumental structures lost to time? The Templars' possible knowledge of such civilizations adds another layer of intrigue. If the Order did indeed have access to maps and manuscripts predating recorded history, it is plausible they knew of southern civilizations now buried beneath Antarctica's ice. Their obsession with sacred relics, esoteric knowledge, and the preservation of forbidden wisdom may have drawn them to regions where the remnants of these societies were preserved. In this context, Antarctica is not merely a distant land. It is a vault safeguarding secrets of human history that mainstream scholarship has overlooked or dismissed. Ancient civilizations, if they existed on Antarctica, would have faced extraordinary environmental changes. Geological evidence indicates that the continent underwent dramatic climate shifts over millennia, transforming from lush, temperate landscapes to icebound plains. These shifts could have erased visible traces of habitation, leaving only subtle signs detectable through modern technology. Riverbeds, submerged mountains, and unusual rock formations may mark the locations of settlements, ceremonial sites, or centers of knowledge that once thrived when the continent was habitable. The possibility that the Templars or other secretive groups documented or discovered these locations centuries ago adds a layer of historical and conspiratorial depth. Some theories even suggest that Antarctica could have been home to advanced, technologically sophisticated societies far earlier than conventional history allows. These civilizations might have developed knowledge of astronomy, engineering, or navigation that was later preserved by secretive orders such as the Templars. Remnants of such knowledge may have been encoded in maps, symbols, or artifacts hidden from the public eye. In this view, Antarctica is not merely a frozen wasteland, but a repository of lost wisdom, a place where secrets of civilization's origins await discovery. Evidence from modern exploration sometimes fuels these theories. Ice-penetrating radar has revealed subglacial lakes, valleys, and unusual geometric formations that defy easy explanation. Some researchers interpret these as remnants of ancient urban planning or monumental architecture, carefully buried beneath kilometers of ice. Others propose that the alignment of certain features correlates with celestial events, suggesting a level of astronomical knowledge consistent with the esoteric wisdom that the Templars sought to preserve. While the interpretation remains speculative, the convergence of geological, climatic, and symbolic evidence encourages a reconsideration of what Antarctica might have once been. Historical accounts and myths from various cultures also hint at lost southern civilizations. From the legends of Atlantis to stories of antediluvian societies and hidden lands beyond the ice, the idea of a lost world at the southernmost edge of the Earth resonates across time. These myths, often dismissed by mainstream scholars, take on new significance when considered alongside maps, anomalies, and Templar symbolism. If the Templars were indeed aware of such places, they may have sought to document them, preserve their knowledge, and encode their locations for posterity, ensuring that the wisdom of these civilizations would survive even as the ice claimed their physical remains. The intersection of Templar secrecy and ancient southern civilizations creates a compelling narrative. Antarctica becomes not just a place of extreme cold, but a canvas upon which history, mystery, and legend converge. The continent's ice conceals both physical and intellectual treasures, from structures that may have once housed human activity to knowledge that could illuminate forgotten chapters of civilization. Every anomaly, every ridge, and every subglacial feature becomes a potential key to understanding a past that is larger, older, and far more complex than conventional history suggests. In contemplating the possibility of ancient civilizations beneath the ice, we are forced to reconsider the very nature of human history. Antarctica, a land long considered a final frontier of exploration, may have been more than a late discovery. It may have been a place of profound significance, a vault for knowledge that transcends time. The Templars, if involved, represent a bridge between these ancient mysteries and the modern world, preserving insights that could rewrite our understanding of civilization, technology, and human ambition. As we move deeper into the frozen continent's secrets, we begin to see Antarctica not merely as a landscape, but as a living archive, a place where the past is preserved in ice, maps, and coded symbols, awaiting discovery by those willing to look beyond the conventional narrative. Ancient civilizations, lost to memory and buried by cataclysm, may yet speak to us through the clues hidden in this frozen world, and the Templars' legacy offers a tantalizing glimpse of who may have first uncovered and safeguarded these truths. The icy expanse of Antarctica has long been a place of fascination, fear, and speculation. Its vast, unbroken landscapes of white seem to stretch into eternity, concealing mysteries beneath layers of ancient ice. Early explorers in the 19th and 20th centuries wrote of a land so hostile that it seemed almost unnatural, a place where the rules of ordinary geography appeared suspended. Yet, within the quiet of this frozen world, whispers of hidden knowledge and secret expeditions persisted. Rumors that reached back to the era of the Templars, suggesting that their ambition and curiosity might have extended far beyond Europe's familiar shores. There were tales of ships venturing south, navigating treacherous waters guided not by ordinary charts, but by secret maps encoded with cryptic symbols, a knowledge preserved by an order that thrived on secrecy and mastery of hidden wisdom. Throughout the early 20th century, as scientific exploration of Antarctica intensified, the continent began to yield fragments of truth that seemed to echo these old legends. Official reports spoke of sudden, inexplicable geological formations, massive structures partially buried in ice, and anomalies in magnetic readings that defied easy explanation. Some scientists reported strange rock formations aligned with precise geometric patterns, hinting a human, or even more enigmatic, intervention. Other accounts described sudden, violent storms seemingly localized to specific areas, almost as if the land itself resisted intrusion. While mainstream narratives dismissed these anomalies as quirks of nature or optical illusions, alternative researchers began to speculate. Could these phenomena be the remnants of something far older, something deliberately concealed beneath the ice? Could the Templars, or their secret successors, have left traces of their knowledge in these frozen realms, encoded in structures designed to withstand the passage of centuries? Rumors persisted of covert expeditions undertaken under the guise of scientific research. Military and intelligence operations, often shrouded in secrecy, seemed particularly drawn to certain regions where these anomalies were reported. In some cases, aerial photographs revealed outlines of unnaturally straight lines and symmetrical patterns beneath the ice, structures so precise they could not have formed naturally. Whispers among explorers and insiders suggested that these formations were not merely geological. They were the remnants of buildings, storerooms, or even ceremonial complexes left behind by a long-forgotten civilization, perhaps connected to the Templars' secret knowledge. Some of these sites, it was said, contained caches of artifacts, encoded scrolls, and instruments designed to measure and map forces that conventional science could not yet comprehend. Accounts from veterans of early Antarctic missions hint at the difficulty of truly understanding the land. Extreme conditions, whiteouts, and shifting ice made it nearly impossible to document these anomalies consistently. Yet multiple expeditions over decades reported similar experiences. Fleeting glimpses of structures partially revealed during seasonal ice melts, sudden magnetic disturbances that interfered with navigation, and tracks or depressions in the snow suggesting the passage of massive vehicles or beings long before human exploration. The repetition of these anomalies in different regions fueled speculation that the continent was not a natural wasteland, but a carefully concealed archive of ancient knowledge. Could it be that the Templars, or secret societies preserving their work, deliberately buried signs and structures here, knowing that only the most determined, or the most persistent seekers of hidden truth, would ever find them? Legends speak of the so-called ice vaults, subterranean chambers carved into the rock beneath kilometers of frozen terrain. Some explorers claim to have detected air pockets and echoes consistent with large enclosed spaces. Others reported unusual thermal readings, hinting at subterranean warmth that could not be explained by geothermal activity alone. In whispered correspondence and private journals, a few daring scientists and explorers theorized that these chambers might house artifacts, libraries, or even vehicles capable of extraordinary navigation. Within this framework, the Templars' Forbidden Map becomes more than a simple chart. It becomes a key, a guide to uncovering a lost chapter of history hidden beneath ice that has remained untouched for centuries. The narrative grows stranger when considering the timing of these modern explorations. In the early 20th century, governments and secret societies alike seemed to suddenly pivot toward Antarctica with increased urgency. Expeditions sponsored under scientific pretenses frequently vanished or returned with incomplete, confusing reports. The anomalies they documented were carefully censored or quietly dismissed. Could there have been knowledge that powerful organizations did not want to surface? Could the continent itself have been a repository of Templar secrets, a place where the consequences of discovery were so great that silence was the preferred response? These questions cast a shadow over every official account, making the contrast between what is known and what is hidden starkly apparent. The psychological impact of Antarctica on explorers cannot be ignored. The isolation, the endless ice, the silent wind, all seem to amplify the human sense of mystery. Several explorers reported feelings of being watched, of encountering presences or impressions that could not be explained rationally. While skeptics attribute these experiences to mental strain and environmental conditions, the accounts themselves feed into a larger narrative. Antarctica as a landscape that resists comprehension, a living vault designed to conceal secrets too dangerous or too sacred for ordinary eyes. Here, the Templars' legacy is woven into the land itself, transforming ice and stone into guardians of knowledge, a timeless witness to human curiosity and ambition. Even in the modern era, satellite imagery and remote sensing have reinforced these suspicions. Distinct patterns, unnatural formations, and subterranean anomalies continue to emerge in high-resolution scans. The idea that these features might be remnants of a Templar initiative becomes increasingly plausible within the framework of alternative history. Speculators argue that these frozen clues, together with the Forbidden Map and cryptic manuscripts, form a web of evidence pointing to a hidden Antarctic chapter in human history, one deliberately erased from mainstream understanding, yet preserved in whispers, fragments, and fleeting glimpses. In this tension between exploration, secrecy, and revelation lies the heart of the story. The forbidden expeditions into the ice are more than a collection of strange reports. They are a testament to human obsession with the unknown. Each discovery, each anomaly, reinforces the possibility that the Templars' ambitions were not limited to medieval Europe, but extended to the very edges of the world. Their legacy, encoded in maps, symbols, and possibly subterranean chambers beneath Antarctica, challenges the conventional story of history. The continent, cold and indifferent, remains a guardian of secrets, a frozen archive waiting for those bold enough to piece together the fragments. And as each generation of explorers, scientists, and truth-seekers ventures further into the ice, the possibility that the Templars' forbidden map may yet guide humanity to unimaginable knowledge lingers like a shadow over the endless white horizon. As the icy expanse of Antarctica gradually revealed its mysteries, another shadow loomed over the frozen continent, one that intertwined with some of the darkest chapters of human ambition and obsession. The early to mid-20th century saw the rise of regimes fascinated not only with power, but with esoteric knowledge, ancient myths, and the possibility of hidden technologies that could reshape the world. Among these, the Nazi regime stood out, not only for its political and military ambitions, but for its peculiar obsession with the occult, legends of lost civilizations, and secret expeditions in search of extraordinary artifacts. The Nazis' fascination with hidden knowledge was deeply intertwined with myths surrounding the Templars, whose legends of secret maps, sacred relics, and forbidden wisdom seemed to resonate with the esoteric dreams of the Third Reich. Documents and testimonies hint that the Nazis were not merely content with European archaeology or the pursuit of conventional historical artifacts. They were drawn to the south, to the continent of Antarctica, as a place where ancient secrets might lie dormant, preserved beneath millennia of ice and snow. Rumors persist that the Third Reich organized clandestine missions to explore remote regions of the frozen continent, missions that were carefully disguised as scientific or geographical surveys. Yet the meticulous planning, the precision of aerial reconnaissance, and the sudden, unexplained focus on specific areas suggested motives far beyond conventional exploration. There was a sense that what lay beneath the ice was not just land, but knowledge, an inheritance of the Templars, or perhaps a fragment of a global network of hidden wisdom that had survived the centuries. Eyewitness reports and leaked documents from the era tell of German aircraft surveying regions where earlier anomalies had been reported, mapping subterranean structures and frozen formations that aligned unnaturally with astronomical and geographical coordinates. Some historians and researchers speculate that these expeditions were searching for the remnants of Templar architecture, cryptic maps, or sacred relics buried under Antarctic ice. The reports describe encounters with landscapes that defied logic, perfectly aligned depressions, unnatural ridges, and formations suggestive of intentional design. While mainstream history often dismisses these accounts as exaggerations or propaganda, the recurring descriptions across multiple expeditions hint at something deliberate, something hidden that inspired both awe and fear. Central to these theories is the idea that the Nazis believed in a legacy of ancient wisdom, a continuity that could be traced back to secretive orders such as the Templars. According to alternative histories, the Third Reich viewed themselves as heirs to this hidden knowledge, seeing in Templar symbolism, sacred geometry, and cryptic maps a blueprint for power that could give them supremacy over the world. The Antarctic expeditions, in this context, were not merely exploratory. They were a quest for a tangible connection to this lineage, a search for artifacts or technology that could turn legend into reality. Whether it was supposed weaponry, lost technologies, or sacred relics, the Nazis' pursuit transformed the frozen continent into a theater of secrecy and speculation, a place where history and myth collided. There are accounts of German teams discovering caverns and ice formations that could not easily be explained, areas that were immediately cordoned off, photographed, and erased from public maps. Whispers circulated that these sites were home to preserved objects, ancient manuscripts, Templar-style insignia, even metallic instruments whose purpose was unclear. Theories suggest that these artifacts were stored carefully, possibly transported back to secret bases in Germany, where only the highest-ranking occult and military officers were allowed access. Some conspiracy theorists go further, claiming that these expeditions led to the discovery of subterranean structures that predated humanity as we know it, a frozen archive of knowledge deliberately hidden by civilizations long vanished. Legend into reality. Whether it was supposed weaponry, lost technologies, or sacred relics, the Nazis' pursuit transformed the frozen continent into a theater of secrecy and speculation, a place where history and myth collided. There are accounts of German teams discovering caverns and ice formations that could not easily be explained, areas that were immediately cordoned off, photographed, and erased from public maps. Whispers circulated that these sites were home to preserved objects, ancient manuscripts, Templar-style insignia, even metallic instruments whose purpose was unclear. Theories suggest that these artifacts were stored carefully, possibly transported back to secret bases in Germany, where only the highest-ranking occult and military officers were allowed access. Some conspiracy theorists go further, claiming that these expeditions led to the discovery of subterranean structures that predated humanity as we know it, a frozen archive of knowledge deliberately hidden by civilizations long vanished. The psychological dimension of these missions cannot be overlooked. Nazi occultists, scholars, and explorers reportedly approached Antarctica with a mix of reverence and fear, aware that they were treading in territories not meant for ordinary eyes. Diaries and memoirs from lesser-known expedition members speak of strange electromagnetic disturbances, disorienting landscapes, and inexplicable climatic phenomena, sudden storms, mirages, and temperature fluctuations in localized zones. While skeptics attribute these reports to environmental conditions or propaganda embellishments, they form part of a larger, eerie narrative, a land that resists understanding, a continent that conceals its secrets with both natural and possibly supernatural precision. Even the infrastructure of these missions hints at a higher purpose. Airstrips built on ice, heavily guarded research stations, and coded communication networks suggest that Antarctica was considered more than just a distant frontier. It was a repository of knowledge, a place where secrecy was paramount, and discovery could equate to power. The Nazi obsession with occult relics, ranging from the Spear of Destiny to mythic artifacts linked to the Templars, frames Antarctica as an extension of this global quest. The continent becomes a stage where history's most shadowed ambitions intersect with the secrets of an ancient, forgotten order, the Templars, whose reach some believe extended far beyond the European heartlands. What makes these theories compelling is the convergence of history, speculation, and the tantalizing fragments left behind. Maps, photographs, and expedition logs reveal inconsistencies and anomalies that mainstream historiography struggles to explain. Regions once surveyed by the Nazis seem to correspond with areas later flagged for anomalies by modern satellite imaging. Whether coincidental or intentional, this alignment fuels the possibility that the Nazis may have stumbled upon remnants of a hidden Templar legacy, a frozen chapter of human history deliberately erased from public consciousness. Yet the story is never presented as absolute truth. Much of it exists in the tension between documented history and the realm of speculation. What the Nazis sought in Antarctica may have been as much psychological as physical, a validation of esoteric theories, a manifestation of power through the discovery of secrets deliberately hidden for centuries. The very fact that so much of this knowledge remains shrouded, with files destroyed or classified, only adds to the allure. It positions the continent as both a literal and symbolic frontier, a place where ambition, curiosity, and secrecy converge, a frozen testament to the collision between human desire and the mysteries of a hidden past. In contemplating these expeditions, the audience is invited to consider the chilling intersection of myth and history. The Nazis' pursuit of Antarctic secrets, framed against the backdrop of Templar lore, transforms the continent into a liminal space, neither fully known nor entirely imagined, a realm where the forbidden map and ancient wisdom might still await discovery. The frozen silence becomes almost audible, as though the ice itself guarded a legacy too dangerous or sacred for ordinary understanding. Every creak of shifting glaciers, every shadow of an iceberg, and every anomaly detected beneath the ice whispers of a hidden truth that, despite human ambition, remains just out of reach. By exploring these expeditions, we begin to see Antarctica not simply as a remote landmass, but as a stage for history's most secretive quests, quests that blend the real, the imagined, and the esoteric. The Templars' forbidden map and the Nazi obsession with hidden knowledge are not separate threads, but interwoven narratives, each echoing the other across centuries. It is a reminder that some knowledge has always been dangerous, some places intentionally concealed, and some truths preserved beneath ice, waiting for the bold, the curious, or the obsessive to rediscover them. As the 20th century progressed and technology advanced, the icy veil of Antarctica began to yield glimpses of secrets previously beyond human reach. Satellite imagery, aerial photography, and remote sensing opened a window into the continent that few had ever imagined. What emerged from these modern eyes in the sky were not just maps of ice and rock, but anomalies, patterns, formations, and subterranean hints that defied conventional explanation. While mainstream science often presented these as natural phenomena, alternative researchers saw something far more provocative. Evidence that the Templars' forbidden knowledge, and perhaps even physical remnants of their presence, might still endure beneath the ice, preserved in a way that transcended centuries. The earliest satellite surveys revealed shapes and outlines that seemed deliberately geometric, almost architectural in their precision. Straight lines cutting through glaciers, symmetrical depressions, and unusual clusters of formations suggested a design, not chaos. These anomalies were subtle, often obscured by snowdrifts or seasonal ice shifts, yet their persistence across multiple imaging techniques hinted at intentional construction. Some experts in cartography and archaeology began to speculate that these could be the remnants of ancient structures, buried and frozen, perhaps built with knowledge long lost to modern civilizations. The parallels with medieval Templar ingenuity, renowned for its architectural skill and symbolic encoding, were striking. Could it be that the Templars or their secret heirs had left a hidden network of knowledge under the ice, intentionally preserved for discovery only when humanity was ready? Further intrigue came from the discovery of subterranean voids detected through ice-penetrating radar. These voids, ranging from the size of small chambers to vast cavernous networks, challenged conventional understanding of the continent's geology. Some readings suggested air pockets, unusual mineral deposits, and structures resembling hallways or corridors. The precision of these formations was extraordinary, sparking speculation that they were more than natural caves. They could be man-made vaults designed to protect something of immense importance. Scholars of alternative history began drawing connections between these voids and the long-lost Templar expeditions rumored to have ventured into unknown lands. If the Forbidden Map led to hidden knowledge, it seemed increasingly plausible that Antarctica had been a final destination, a repository carefully concealed beneath ice. One of the most compelling lines of evidence came from anomalies detected through thermal imaging. Certain areas of the ice showed subtle, localized heat signatures inconsistent with natural geothermal activity. These anomalies were persistent yet irregular, appearing in grids or clusters that mirrored the patterns noted in satellite images. While scientists debated whether these signatures could be explained by environmental factors, alternative researchers suggested that they indicated buried structures or technological remnants, perhaps even mechanisms left behind by the Templars or other ancient civilizations. The very notion that such evidence could survive millennia under Antarctic ice added an almost mythical dimension to the story. It was a place where history, legend, and science intersected, challenging assumptions about what humans could achieve, preserve, and conceal. Modern expeditions, though largely scientific, occasionally stumbled upon traces that seemed inexplicable. Items such as metal fragments, unusual stone formations, and anomalies in ice layers suggested that something had been deliberately placed or constructed long ago. Some researchers noted similarities to medieval European artifacts, though altered by age and ice exposure, fueling speculation that these could be linked to Templar voyages far beyond their documented range. Even more tantalizing were reports of unexplained magnetic anomalies in regions corresponding with patterns seen in satellite data. These disturbances affected compasses and navigation instruments, echoing historical accounts of early explorers who had reported similar phenomena. The convergence of past and present hints suggested continuity, a thread linking centuries of secrecy, exploration, and hidden knowledge. There were also stories, fragments of whispered accounts, that suggested some discoveries were deliberately suppressed. Certain satellite images and radar scans were classified, removed from public access, or minimally reported. Researchers who pursued these leads often found bureaucratic resistance, missing datasets, or restricted zones. While skeptics attribute these instances to standard governmental caution, conspiracy theorists saw a deliberate effort to protect ancient secrets. The idea that Templar legacies might have been discovered, only to be hidden once again, fueled the growing tension between what is officially acknowledged and what may exist beyond reach. Antarctica, in this context, was not merely a frozen wilderness but a living enigma, guarding its contents with layers of ice, secrecy, and time itself. The cultural and psychological impact of these discoveries is profound. Satellite imagery and remote sensing technology are not simply tools. They are portals into a landscape that remains largely unvisited, a land both real and symbolic. Every straight line, every geometric pattern, every unexplained void suggests intention, intelligence, and purpose. The patterns resonate with the Templars' known methods of encoding meaning into architecture, geometry, and maps. It is as if the continent itself has been waiting, patient and eternal, for the right moment, or perhaps the right seeker, to interpret the evidence and unlock the story it has safeguarded for centuries. What emerges from this modern lens is a world in which Antarctica becomes more than a geographical location. It is a nexus of history, legend, and the unexplored potential of human knowledge. It is here that the narrative of the Templars intersects with technology, exploration, and mystery, creating a layered tapestry of possibilities. Could the Forbidden Map have been a literal guide to these hidden sites, a key for those capable of reading its encoded symbols? Could the remnants under the ice represent not only human ingenuity, but also a preserved fragment of a civilization whose understanding of the world far exceeded contemporary expectations? These questions linger, unanswered, tantalizing, and profoundly unsettling. In exploring these modern discoveries, the viewer is invited to imagine the interplay between past and present, myth and reality. Satellite imagery, thermal scans, and radar surveys provide tangible data, yet the interpretations remain open, suspended between skepticism and wonder. The frozen continent, once considered an empty expanse, is now revealed as a palimpsest of human ambition and secrecy. It is a place where the Templars' ambitions may have converged with the modern quest for knowledge, where the ice itself becomes a keeper of ancient secrets, silently witnessing centuries of human curiosity, greed, and reverence. The narrative of Antarctica, when viewed through this modern lens, reinforces the larger story of the Templars' Forbidden Map. It is a story of continuity, persistence, and mystery, one that bridges medieval ambition with modern exploration, creating an almost cinematic tension between discovery and concealment. Each anomaly, each unexplained pattern, each subterranean void contributes to a growing sense of anticipation, that somewhere beneath layers of ice, there may lie evidence that transforms our understanding of history, human potential, and the enduring legacy of those who dared to seek the unknown. The frozen continent is no longer just a place on the map. It is a silent, enigmatic witness to secrets that span centuries, awaiting those bold enough to follow the trail of the Templars into the ice. The story of the Forbidden Map, long whispered about in esoteric circles, reaches its most tantalizing moment when it seems to re-emerge from the shadows of history. For centuries, the map had been considered a legend, a tantalizing fragment of Templar lore so secretive that even the most diligent historians dismissed it as myth. References appeared sporadically in cryptic manuscripts, marginal notes in monastic libraries, and in the obscure writings of scholars who hinted at voyages far beyond the known world. The map, unlike ordinary charts, was said to depict lands unseen by contemporary Europe, with peculiar annotations, symbols, and geometric markers that suggested it was intended for more than simple navigation. It was a guide not just to geography, but to knowledge, a key that promised access to hidden truths and forbidden realms. Over time, the map's existence became almost mythical. Official archives offered nothing, leading some to conclude that it had been deliberately destroyed or concealed to prevent its secrets from being discovered. Yet fragments and references persisted. In private collections, some explorers and collectors claimed to have seen sections of the map, though access was rare and strictly controlled. These fragments hinted at the southernmost regions of the world, areas consistent with the anomalies detected in Antarctica by modern satellites and expeditions. The connection was striking. The map might not have been a fanciful creation of medieval imagination, but a record of journeys and knowledge that the Templars, in their secretive way, had accumulated and preserved, guiding them far beyond the Mediterranean into the frozen unknown. Controversy and debate surround the map to this day. Skeptics argue that it is a hoax, a romantic fabrication intended to capture the imagination of treasure hunters and conspiracy theorists. Yet when cross-referenced with ancient maps, such as those of Orontius Phineas, the Pyrie Reis chart, and other early cartographic anomalies, patterns emerge that are difficult to dismiss. Coastlines resembling Antarctica appear, often without ice, challenging conventional timelines of exploration. The parallels between these maps and the alleged Templar chart suggest continuity, implying that knowledge of the southern continent was not only possible, but preserved across generations. The map thus becomes a bridge between myth and reality, a silent witness to voyages, secrets, and discoveries deliberately obscured from the historical record. Allegations of suppression add another layer to the mystery. Scholars have long noted gaps in historical archives, missing documents, and sudden absences of records that coincide with the supposed movements of Templar knowledge. In some cases, manuscripts and artifacts resurfaced only in private collections, often accompanied by cryptic warnings or claims of danger. These accounts feed into the notion that the map, along with other evidence, had been deliberately concealed to prevent its secrets from influencing the wider world. The tension between revelation and suppression, central to the Templar narrative, is heightened in Antarctica, a land where ice conceals as much as it reveals, where time and nature act as accomplices to secrecy. The map itself is described as a work of extraordinary precision and complexity. Unlike ordinary charts of the era, it reportedly included not only geographical details, but encoded symbols, astronomical alignments, and cryptic instructions. Some scholars speculate that it functioned as a multi-layered guide, offering direction both on the physical plane and through esoteric knowledge. Landmarks, coastlines, and hidden structures may have been encoded with meaning that only a trained or initiated eye could interpret. In this sense, the map is less a tool for navigation and more a key to understanding a broader, hidden order, a manifestation of the Templars' obsession with secrecy, wisdom, and the safeguarding of powerful truths. Stories persist of explorers, both historical and modern, attempting to use the map as a guide. In some cases, expeditions claimed to find areas of interest that aligned with the map's depictions, regions of anomalous formations, buried structures, or unusual mineral deposits. Yet access to these locations has always been perilous, complicated by extreme weather, shifting ice, and bureaucratic restrictions. The combination of natural obstacles and human interference reinforces the idea that some knowledge is both difficult and dangerous to obtain. It is as if the Templars, anticipating future seekers, encoded their map to protect secrets until the right moment or the right individual could uncover them, leaving the frozen continent as a final guardian. The map's resurgence in modern discourse has been fueled by researchers, whistleblowers, and adventurers who claim to have uncovered fragments or references previously unknown to the public. These revelations have prompted renewed speculation about Templar voyages and Antarctic secrets, igniting debates in both academic and fringe circles. while official history remains cautious or dismissive. The tantalizing possibility remains that the map is real, a tangible artifact connecting medieval ambition with modern discovery. Its existence blurs the line between documented history and legend, creating a narrative in which Antarctica is not merely a frozen continent, but a repository of hidden knowledge waiting to be decoded. Even the physical qualities of the map, as described by those who have studied it, add to the intrigue. Some accounts speak of delicate parchment, symbols that shimmer or change under different light, and annotations in languages or ciphers that defy easy translation. These features suggest a work of intentional sophistication, designed to conceal as much as it reveals. It is more than a map. It is a testament to the Templars' mastery of secrecy, an artifact meant to endure centuries of neglect, suppression, and natural decay, while still conveying its hidden truths to those capable of understanding them. The resurfacing of the map thus sets the stage for a broader understanding of the Templars' reach. It suggests a continuum in which their influence extended far beyond Europe, encompassing distant lands, hidden technologies, and knowledge preserved in ways that modern science is only beginning to comprehend. The Forbidden Map becomes a symbol of the Templars' enduring legacy, a challenge to conventional history, an invitation to explore the frozen continent, and a reminder that some truths, though hidden, never vanish completely. In contemplating the map, one cannot ignore the psychological and symbolic dimensions it carries. It is a beacon of human curiosity and ambition, a representation of the tension between the known and the unknown. Its mysterious return to public discourse reignites the same questions that have haunted explorers for centuries. What lies beneath the ice? What knowledge has been preserved? And who, if anyone, is worthy of uncovering it? As modern satellites scan the continent, as explorers brave its treacherous terrain, and as historians and theorists parse every fragment of evidence, the Forbidden Map remains at the center of the narrative, a link between centuries of secrecy and the possibility of revelation, a key to a hidden history that continues to elude us. The map's resurfacing, whether as legend or artifact, is not merely a historical curiosity. It is a call to imagination, exploration, and speculation. It bridges the past and the present, medieval ambition and modern technology, mystery and tangible evidence. It transforms Antarctica from a remote, icy wilderness into a stage where human curiosity, ambition, and the enduring quest for hidden knowledge converge. And as we ponder the implications of this enigmatic chart, we are reminded that some secrets are not lost. They're preserved, waiting for the right eyes, the right mind, or the right moment to finally reveal what has long been hidden beneath layers of ice and centuries of silence. Beneath the seemingly endless ice of Antarctica lies a world largely hidden from human eyes, a landscape frozen in time, preserving secrets that may predate recorded history. The notion that this remote continent could conceal evidence of a hidden past captures the imagination, but when tied to the enigmatic Templars, it becomes almost mythic. Explorers, satellite researchers, and historians have long speculated that the Templars' Forbidden Map might not merely point to empty land, but to a repository of knowledge and artifacts buried beneath ice and stone, preserved for centuries with almost impossible foresight. The idea is seductive. A civilization, or perhaps an order like the Templars, leaving behind traces of its presence in a place so extreme that nature itself acts as guardian, preventing casual discovery and protecting what is sacred, forbidden, or dangerous. Accounts from explorers describe strange formations that defy conventional understanding. Linear ridges that cut across glaciers, geometric depressions in the snow, and anomalies in the ice's structure that suggest intentional design rather than natural processes. Ice-penetrating radar and seismic surveys conducted in recent decades have revealed subterranean voids, some the size of large buildings, others stretching for kilometers. These voids often appear in patterns that correspond with anomalies seen on satellite images, hinting at a deliberately constructed network hidden beneath the ice. While mainstream geologists attribute such voids to tectonic activity or glacial movement, alternative researchers argue that the precision and recurrence of these formations cannot be explained by chance. The very landscape seems to speak in code, waiting for those capable of reading it. Whispers of buried structures have persisted in exploration logs and personal journals. Some describe chambers large enough to suggest human or intelligent design, while others speak of tunnels connecting distant formations as if forming a hidden infrastructure beneath the ice. Explorers have reported sudden shifts in magnetic fields, equipment malfunctions, and thermal anomalies over certain areas, all hinting at the presence of materials or mechanisms that elude conventional understanding. Could these be remnants of Templar constructions, deliberately concealed and designed to survive the passage of centuries, or perhaps the vestiges of even older civilizations that the Templars discovered and documented in their Forbidden Maps? The mystery deepens with every layer of ice and rock excavated or scanned. The psychological impact of these findings is profound. Antarctica, already hostile and isolating, transforms into a landscape that almost seems aware of human intrusion. The endless white horizons, the silent wind, the shifting light across glaciers, all contribute to a sense of something monumental lying beneath, something patient and eternal, waiting to reveal itself to those who dare to seek it. Witnesses speak of fleeting impressions, shadowy structures glimpsed through cracks in ice, shapes that vanish when approached, or an almost palpable presence in areas of particularly strange geological formations. Whether these experiences are psychological responses to the extreme environment or subtle hints of a concealed reality is uncertain, but they reinforce the narrative of the continent as a guardian of secrets. One of the most compelling aspects of these hidden landscapes is their apparent alignment with the Templars' legendary expertise in geometry, architecture, and symbolic design. Patterns observed in subterranean voids, ridges, and depressions seem to reflect deliberate symmetry, proportional relationships, and alignments with celestial markers. Some researchers have drawn parallels to medieval Templar constructions, such as chapter houses and chapels, where geometry and symbolism intertwined to encode knowledge. This raises a provocative question. Did the Templars, or their successors, create structures in Antarctica not for habitation, but as repositories of knowledge, encrypted and preserved beneath layers of ice and time? If so, the continent itself becomes a monument to secrecy, a frozen cathedral of knowledge awaiting rediscovery. Reports of artifacts and anomalous materials further fuel speculation. Explorers and remote sensing teams have occasionally discovered metallic fragments, unusual mineral formations, and organic remains that seem incongruous with the surrounding environment. While some dismiss these as natural anomalies, others suggest that they may be remnants of technological devices, ceremonial objects, or navigational tools, artifacts encoded with information, potentially connected to the Forbidden Map. The idea that such items could survive millennia in the extreme conditions of Antarctica is not implausible. The ice acts as both preservative and shield, maintaining what might otherwise have been lost to decay, conflict, or neglect. Subterranean voids and anomalies are often located in areas aligned with both historical Templar routes and the peculiar land formations depicted on ancient maps. This suggests an extraordinary continuity between medieval ambition and modern discovery, hinting that knowledge of Antarctica was not a modern acquisition, but rather preserved through centuries of secrecy. The possibility arises that these hidden vaults, chambers, and tunnels were part of an organized, deliberate system, a network designed to safeguard sacred knowledge, relics, or technological innovations until humanity was ready or daring enough to uncover them. Each new discovery, each satellite anomaly, each seismic reading adds a brushstroke to an unseen map, painting a vision of Antarctica as both literal and symbolic guardian of ancient truths. The hidden continent becomes even more compelling when considering its role in human imagination and myth. Legends speak of lost civilizations, of hidden treasures and sacred artifacts buried in inaccessible lands. When the Templars' Forbidden Map is considered alongside modern discoveries, Antarctica transforms into a canvas on which these myths might find tangible form. The geometric voids, the anomalies, the buried structures, all suggest that the continent was not always an empty expanse, but a deliberate repository, chosen for its isolation, its harshness, and its ability to preserve secrets over millennia. The Templars, or those who inherited their knowledge, may have recognized this, leaving behind markers, symbols, and architecture to encode truths far beyond the comprehension of ordinary observers. The convergence of ancient ambition, cryptic cartography, and modern technology creates a tension that is almost cinematic. Antarctica is both familiar and alien, vast and intimate, barren yet potentially rich with knowledge. Each void, ridge, and formation invites speculation, demanding that the observer question the boundary between natural and artificial, myth and history, what is known and what is deliberately concealed. The continent emerges as a liminal space where time, secrecy, and human curiosity intersect, a place where the Templars' vision of hidden knowledge might still endure, frozen but intact, awaiting discovery by those willing to traverse the extremes of both geography and imagination. In contemplating these hidden secrets, the audience is drawn into a landscape that is both physical and symbolic. Antarctica becomes more than a frozen landmass. It is a stage upon which the greatest mysteries of human ambition, secrecy, and discovery converge. The voids beneath the ice, the anomalous formations, and the artifacts that may lie concealed there all serve as evidence that the Templars' Forbidden Map was not a fanciful dream, but a practical guide to a hidden reality. As the narrative unfolds, the continent stands as both witness and participant, silent yet eloquent, preserving a legacy that challenges conventional history and invites the imagination to follow where ordinary exploration dares not tread. The Templar story does not end in the icy shadows of Antarctica, nor with the rediscovery of forbidden maps and hidden chambers. Their influence, some argue, persists subtly in modern times, woven into the fabric of secret societies, financial networks, and clandestine institutions that continue to guard knowledge once considered too powerful for the public eye. The Order's legacy, deliberately obscured by centuries of persecution, suppression, and propaganda, may have survived through lines of initiates who understood that the true power of the Templars was not in their military conquests, but in the wisdom they safeguarded, the knowledge that connected sacred geometry, celestial patterns, and hidden geography with human destiny. Many scholars of alternative history suggest that this legacy has been preserved in organizations that operate quietly behind the scenes. Financial institutions, think tanks, and modern societies bearing symbolic connections to the medieval Templars hint at a continuity of influence. Their rituals, symbols, and codes, often overlooked or dismissed as mere tradition, may encode a deep understanding of the world, carried forward in secrecy to protect the truths uncovered centuries ago. Some researchers argue that these modern custodians of knowledge may have maintained awareness of forbidden maps, lost expeditions, and the Antarctic mysteries, ensuring that only carefully guided individuals or groups could access the information. In this light, the Templars were not simply an order of knights, but guardians of an enduring intellectual and spiritual heritage. The map, the hidden chambers, and the subterranean anomalies beneath Antarctica may thus represent only a fragment of a broader network, Connections between Europe, the Middle East, and distant unexplored lands suggest that the Templars and their heirs understood geography and science in ways that seem astonishing even by modern standards. Some theorists propose that their knowledge included advanced navigation, awareness of Earth's magnetic fields, and perhaps even insights into planetary alignment and cosmic cycles. These abilities would have allowed them to preserve secrets in a way that transcended ordinary comprehension, safeguarding truths that could shape civilizations if rediscovered. Modern expeditions and research missions, whether under scientific, governmental, or private auspices, often encounter subtle signs that seem to echo this hidden continuity. Satellite imagery, anomalous geological patterns, and the occasional unexplained artifact may not be isolated discoveries, but part of a deliberately orchestrated chain of preservation. It is as though the Templars anticipated centuries of human curiosity and technological development, placing their knowledge in locations that would be discovered only when society was capable of interpreting it responsibly. Antarctica, with its extreme environment and enduring ice, becomes an ideal repository for such wisdom, serving as both vault and guardian against misuse. Beyond physical remnants, the Templars' legacy may endure symbolically in esoteric traditions and intellectual lineages. Certain modern societies claim direct inspiration from Templar ideals, maintaining rituals, teachings, and frameworks for understanding the world that echo medieval knowledge. While mainstream institutions often dismiss these groups as ceremonial or allegorical, some researchers believe they preserve encoded wisdom, including methods of reading maps, understanding sacred geometry, and interpreting celestial alignments. This raises the possibility that the Forbidden Map, when combined with other surviving artifacts or knowledge streams, forms a network of discovery that spans both time and space, linking medieval ambition with contemporary exploration. The notion of modern custodians introduces a new dimension to the story of Antarctica. It suggests that what lies beneath the ice is not simply ancient or medieval, but part of an ongoing dialogue between generations who have safeguarded knowledge. Explorers and researchers may stumble upon anomalies, but only those with the right insight, preparation, or understanding of encoded wisdom might truly interpret their significance. This reinforces the idea that the Templars' secret was not only in discovery, but in preservation, selectively granting access, guiding seekers, and testing humanity's capacity to responsibly engage with knowledge of immense consequence. One compelling aspect of this theory is the continuity of secrecy across centuries. From the fall of the Templar Order in the early 14th century to the whispers of modern secret societies, there exists a pattern of concealment and selective revelation. Knowledge was protected, maps hidden, and discoveries encoded to ensure survival beyond persecution or political upheaval. Antarctica, in this context, becomes both a literal and symbolic extension of that protection, a place where the Templars' vision of safeguarding knowledge is enacted on a monumental scale, a frozen vault where human ambition intersects with the natural world's capacity to preserve what is rare, delicate, and dangerous. Yet this continuity also raises questions. If such networks of knowledge exist, how far-reaching are they? Do they operate with a collective awareness of history's hidden chapters, or are they fragmented, carrying pieces of wisdom without a full understanding of the whole? What responsibility comes with uncovering even a fragment of this knowledge? And who is prepared to interpret it without succumbing to misuse? These questions linger, reminding us that the Templars' influence, while hidden, is not inert. It is a force that continues to shape curiosity, exploration, and the pursuit of understanding, quietly steering the interaction between humanity and the secrets of the world. Modern scientific and exploratory missions may unwittingly intersect with this legacy. Researchers may document anomalies. Satellites may reveal geometric formations, and ice-penetrating radar may detect voids. But the interpretation of these findings often lies in the domain of those who study esoteric knowledge. The overlap between science and hidden wisdom suggests a fascinating duality. Antarctica is at once a natural frontier, a laboratory for observation, and a sacred vault, preserving insights encoded by those who understood that true knowledge is both powerful and perilous. In this way, the Templars' legacy is not static. It continues to interact with the modern world, guiding, testing, and inspiring seekers who probe the edges of human understanding. Ultimately, the Templars' hidden influence in modern societies offers a framework for understanding the continuum of secrecy, exploration, and preservation. Their maps, artifacts, and esoteric wisdom are not isolated relics, but nodes in a vast network, a chain of knowledge that spans centuries and continents. Antarctica stands as one of the most dramatic manifestations of this continuum, a place where past and present converge, where secrets lie frozen yet accessible, and where the ambitions of a medieval order continue to resonate in the actions, explorations, and imaginations of those who dare to uncover them. The continent, in essence, is a living testament to the enduring reach of the Templars, a silent reminder that true knowledge is rarely revealed all at once, but unfolds gradually, deliberately, and sometimes only to those willing to see beyond the surface. The deeper one delves into the Templars' forbidden knowledge and the mysteries hidden beneath Antarctica, the more apparent it becomes that their vision extended beyond mere earthly realms. The Templars were not only knights, navigators, and preservers of secret knowledge. They were also keen observers of the heavens, scholars of celestial patterns, and interpreters of cosmic cycles. Their sacred maps, intricate geometries, and encoded symbols often align with astronomical phenomena, hinting that their ambitions and understanding were as much cosmic as terrestrial. The Forbidden Map of Antarctica may therefore serve a dual purpose, guiding explorers to hidden structures beneath the ice while simultaneously encoding celestial wisdom meant to reveal the interconnectedness of the Earth and the stars. Astronomical alignments have been central to Templar architecture, from the orientation of chapels to the placement of ceremonial halls. Some researchers have suggested that similar principles may have been applied to the hidden structures in Antarctica. The ridges, depressions, and voids detected through satellite imagery and radar may correspond to specific stellar alignments, perhaps designed to act as markers or instruments for celestial observation. This raises the possibility that the Templars were not merely creating hidden repositories on Earth, but were also establishing observatories or knowledge nodes capable of tracking cosmic phenomena, an extraordinary testament to their foresight and comprehension of natural laws that predate modern astronomy. These considerations gain further weight when one examines the concept of sacred geometry, central to Templar thought. Patterns such as the golden ratio, harmonic proportions, and geometric alignments found in medieval Templar constructions suggest an understanding of universal principles, connecting the terrestrial and the celestial. If these same principles were applied to Antarctic structures, the landscape itself becomes a map of both the Earth and the cosmos, a living diagram intended to preserve knowledge across generations, accessible only to those capable of deciphering the encoded symbols. The very ice and rock may function as instruments, measuring celestial cycles, magnetic fields, or even energy flows that conventional science has yet to fully comprehend. The esoteric implications are profound. The forbidden map, combined with the observed anomalies, may encode knowledge intended not only for navigation, but also for understanding forces that influence human consciousness, planetary behavior, or cosmic alignment. This is a realm where myth, science, and spiritual insight converge, suggesting that the Templars possessed, or at least recorded, information that transcended the immediate practicalities of exploration or warfare. They may have understood the Earth as a living system, interlinked with the cosmos, where hidden knowledge beneath the ice of Antarctica could reveal profound truths about human potential and the universe itself. Ancient prophecies and mystical writings add another layer to this narrative. Various sources, some obscure and some surprisingly authoritative, speak of distant southern lands where sacred wisdom was preserved, protected from those unworthy of its power. These texts, while cryptic, describe a convergence of earthly and celestial markers, rituals timed to astronomical events, and symbols that encode the location of hidden repositories. When juxtaposed with the satellite anomalies, thermal readings, and subterranean voids beneath Antarctica, one is compelled to consider the possibility that the Templars' hidden knowledge was designed not merely for survival, but as a bridge between human understanding and the cosmic order. Modern interpretations suggest that Antarctica itself may function as an enormous, frozen observatory. Its alignment with certain celestial poles, the geometric arrangement of anomalies, and the potential for hidden instruments to detect magnetic or cosmic flows hint at a deliberate design of immense sophistication. This vision of Antarctica transforms it from a barren wasteland into a hub of esoteric science and cosmic mapping, a place where human ambition, Templar ingenuity, and the structure of the universe intersect in frozen silence. To the modern observer, these ideas are almost beyond comprehension, yet the evidence, while subtle, invites curiosity, speculation, and awe. The implications of this cosmic dimension are not merely theoretical. If the Templars encoded celestial knowledge in Antarctica, they may have intended to preserve it for a future civilization capable of interpreting it. This would explain why their forbidden map remained secret for centuries, why access to certain lands was restricted, and why the ice acted as both guardian and preservative. The Templars' vision, in this sense, extends across both space and time, a multidimensional strategy to safeguard knowledge that could alter humanity's understanding of itself, the Earth, and the universe. In this light, every ridge, every void, and every anomaly beneath the ice is a puzzle piece in a grand design, waiting for discovery and understanding. There are also modern whispers, accounts from explorers, satellite analysts, and researchers that suggest some of these anomalies may not be entirely inert. Certain voids exhibit subtle energy signatures, thermal variations, or electromagnetic anomalies that defy conventional explanation. While mainstream science struggles to interpret these phenomena, alternative perspectives see them as the remnants of instruments or systems left behind by ancient custodians of knowledge. If true, these systems could represent a form of ancient technology or understanding capable of interacting with environmental or cosmic forces in ways that modern humanity is only beginning to imagine. Antarctica, then, becomes not only a repository of artifacts, but a laboratory, a celestial interface, and a sacred space encoded with meaning. In considering the cosmic and esoteric dimensions of the Templars' work, one must also account for their understanding of cycles, prophecy, and the nature of knowledge itself. The medieval order was aware that wisdom carries responsibility, that some truths are too potent to be revealed without preparation. The frozen continent of Antarctica, the hidden chambers, the forbidden map, and the encoded structures together form a system designed to preserve, protect, and selectively reveal knowledge when the time was right. This strategic foresight elevates the Templars from mere knights to visionary custodians of a cosmic order, bridging human curiosity with universal principles through secrecy, geometry, and encoded exploration. Ultimately, this section illuminates the staggering scope of the Templars' vision. Antarctica is not merely a physical location, nor is it only a repository of hidden maps and relics. It is a multidimensional landscape where knowledge, wisdom, and cosmic insight converge, where the frozen silence conceals not only human history, but the echoes of a greater cosmic understanding. The Forbidden Map, the anomalies beneath the ice, and the alignment of celestial and terrestrial markers together reveal a narrative of ambition, foresight, and preservation that transcends centuries. For those who follow this trail, Antarctica becomes more than a frontier. It is a testament to the enduring reach of human ingenuity, the Templars' secret legacy, and the subtle interplay between the known world and the mysteries of the universe. Beneath the frozen expanse of Antarctica lies a story that bridges centuries, connecting the ambitions of the Templars with modern discoveries. Hidden beneath layers of ice are formations, voids, and anomalies that suggest deliberate design rather than natural processes. Satellite imagery, ice-penetrating radar, and thermal readings reveal chambers and structures aligned with celestial markers, hinting that the continent may have served as both a repository of knowledge and a sacred observatory. These subterranean vaults could hold artifacts, manuscripts, or instruments preserved by the ice for centuries, deliberately safeguarded from those unworthy of their secrets. The Forbidden Map, long whispered about in esoteric circles, appears central to understanding these hidden landscapes. Landmarks and linear anomalies correspond with its depictions, suggesting that the Templars' knowledge of geography, celestial alignment, and secret construction was far more advanced than history has acknowledged. Modern expeditions, from satellite surveys to robotic probes, continue to uncover evidence that hints at this extraordinary past, while the extreme isolation of Antarctica ensures that its secrets remain protected, revealed only to those equipped to interpret them. Antarctica, in this context, becomes both a literal and symbolic frontier, a frozen cathedral of human ingenuity, esoteric wisdom, and cosmic understanding. The Templars' foresight, encoded in maps, geometry, and alignment with celestial cycles, preserved knowledge intended to endure centuries, awaiting those who could unlock it. The continent is no longer merely a remote wilderness. It is a monument to secrecy, ambition, and the enduring human quest for understanding, standing silent yet eloquent, challenging explorers to uncover the mysteries hidden beneath its icy surface.